Hello and welcome to my review or re-review of the Trygon for Tyranids for Warhammer 40,000. Now I thought I would create this re-review in honour of the Space Marine 2 new DLC that just dropped. I won't spoil it, but it's a great operation and it features this Trygon. Believe me when I say if I had a Hierophant Bio Titan, I would have reviewed the Bio Titan when that DLC was released. But anyway, I actually reviewed this Trygon 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago. It'll be 8 years ago in November I reviewed this Trygon. So it was a long time ago and so much has happened since then. But that's the main reason why I wanted to bring you this review right now. If you would like to see me re-review other Tyranid models and units and try and get my hands on a Bio Titan, you know what you have to do by now. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below and write what Tyranid unit you'd like to see me review or re-review on the channel. So without further ado then, I'll go through the format of this review. It's as usual, it's a normal format, so I'll have a look at the Trygon herself, look at all the detail and things. I can't go through any of the spare parts because I reckon she's eaten them by now, but I will give you some in-depth size comparisons with a load of Tyranid minis and Space Marines, Warhammer 40K minis and the usual suspects, of course. And then at the end, I will go through all of her 10th edition rules. So straight away, let's just have a look at her. She is gorgeous, such a lovely model. Really like the Trygon. If you've played the recent DLC and you're just itching to pick up a model version of her, then this is the way to go. So she will cost you a whopping £57 and consists of 97 plastic components. When I picked her up in 2017, she only cost £36, so she's gone up by £21 in well, almost 8 years. That's a fair increase, I think you'll agree. Lovely mini. From what I can remember, she was really nice to put together. There are some mould lines and places on the talons and things, but a very nice, big, straightforward model. And you must remember, guys, that this was first released in Forge World resin for a number of years, and it was so popular that Games Workshop decided to bring it over to plastic, much like they did the Valkyrie and the Baneblade and a number of other resin minis. Yeah, it's mainly because of Forge World and how popular that model was in resin that we finally got it in plastic. It's important to note also that you know, if you don't want to build this Trygon, you can build the Morlock. The Trygon in the DLC is actually called a Trygon Prime. We'll pick up a Morlock at some point. Next big thing I wanted to do in this re-review is give you a size comparison. So first of all, size comparison, I might as well give you a comparison of the Trygon with, I'd say, an extremist level threat, or a couple of extremist level threats, in the form of a Carnifex and a Lictor. So I don't know whether this is fair. I mean, the Carnifex in the game is bigger than this Carnifex, I think, but the Lictor seems to be about the right size. In the game as well, it seems like the Trygon Prime is bigger than this Trygon, so I'll tell you that. Next to another sort of boss, I mean, I can't really give you a comparison with a Bio Titan, I wish I could, but here is a Hive Tyrant. That's the kind of size we're looking at, and in the game, that's kind of true. I'd probably say that the Hive Tyrant is a fair bit bigger, but I'd say that the Trygon Prime is a bit bigger. These seem to be smaller designs in the game as opposed to on the tabletop. Then I've got some a Hormagaunt and a Termagant. So Termagants are the ones with the, and these Venom Stranglers or whatever they are, they're you know, very painful. But then I've also got these Hormagaunts that jump at you and you know, you have to press your L1 button. or LB button very quickly to parry them. These are the newer Hormagaunts and Termagants, so they are a bit bigger than the old school ones. And then a couple of other minis that I'd like to just give you a comparison with is, this is a Tyrannocyte, and I think in game again, the Tyrannocytes or the drop pods of the Tyranids that they all burst out of are bigger than this. Probably maybe double the size or a third bigger. But yeah, that's the Tyrannocyte. And then a unit that we haven't seen in the game, I don't know whether they will bring it out, possibly, who knows, I doubt it though, is the Tyrannofex. It's kind of like a mini Biotitan really, with this huge bio cannon thing. It's crazy. It's a very strong weapon. I may even do a re-review of the Tyrannofex. But yeah, as you can see, the Trygon is still a very big model, one of the biggest. Speaking of a big model, here is the Norn Emissary. So this was the big Gribbly release of 10th edition, and it's very similar height to a Norn Emissary. I'll probably say it's taller just because it's standing on its tail. But yeah. Now, unfortunately, the Redemptor Dreadnought doesn't make its appearance in the DLC, but here is a Redemptor Dreadnought, and that gives you an idea that, yeah, if it did feature in the game on the boss, then, yeah, the Trygon would be a fair bit bigger than one of these, and these are quite tall. And this is kind of the story right here. You've got your Primaris Space Marine going up against this Trygon, and I think the size is all right there, comparing these two minis. Again, I'd probably say that the Trygon should be a 6th or a 5th bigger, possibly. But yeah, this is what you're kind of up against. And this is one of the newer 10th edition Primaris Space Marines. So yeah, as you can see, you know, you've got 3 of these Space Marines going off against a Trygon here. Fantastic. But it's so good to play the game and then come back to the miniatures and, you know, compare them. Kind of get nostalgia feelings of Dawn of War as well, when that came out, you know, many years ago, like 2004. The usual suspects, of course. I'm not sure whether this is worth it, because I've just shown you how big a Primaris is, but yeah, there you go. There's Slime Arbo, so you can just imagine a Cadian being similar sort of height, and this Trygon being so much taller than a Primaris. Would be nice if we did get an updated Trygon model, a Trygon Prime. You know, maybe they could model it where the tail is kind of behind it or a bit taller, and you've got arcs of lightning coming off of it. I mean, it does have that attack in game, but I'll explain that in its rules in a moment. But there you go. Okay, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the Trygon's rules. I'm reading her rules from the 10th edition Tyranid Codex. The Trygon will cost you 170 points, so she's not cheap. Compared to a Morlock, she's much more expensive. A Morlock will cost you 135 points. Compared to a Tyrannofex, though, she is cheaper because a Tyrannofex is 190 points. Now, what are you getting for these 170 points then? Well, you're getting a stat line of a movement speed of 10 inches, toughness 10, save of 3+, 14 wounds, leadership 8+, and objective control 4. That means she's got pretty much the same stat line as a Toxicrene. She's just a bit faster, but she's not as tough as a Toxicrene, which is really bizarre. But there we go. She's not as tough as a Tyrannofex and doesn't have a better save, and the Tyrannofex has a couple more wounds and a better objective control. So Tyrannofex is definitely worth those extra points there. The model is equipped with a bioelectric pulse, which she does use in game in the operation, and a Trygon scything talons, which she definitely uses in game. What she also does in game is tunnel a lot and create these tunnels that birth a load of Termagants and Hormagaunts and warriors even as well. So she can kind of spawn in mobs, and I think it's a really cool mechanic that they do that. I think it's great. So she's equipped with a ranged weapon, this bioelectric pulse. It's got sustained hits 2. Range is quite short range, it's 12 inches, 6 attacks, ballistic skill 3+, strength 5, AP 0, damage 1. It's alright, you know, it's a nice little short range attack. Melee weapons, so the Trygon scything talons, she's getting 12 attacks with that. Weapon skill 3+, strength 9, AP -2, and damage 3. Yes, you can definitely feel that in the game. maybe she should have more attacks in game, but in game there's a couple of other things that she can do that she can't do in this model in the game of 40k. One of which is to spawn those mobs. Now she's got this archaic rule, I guess you call it, from previous editions, where if she's got between 1 to 5 wounds remaining, each time the model makes an attack, you subtract 1 from the hit roll. That's a bit archaic, and we don't really have a lot of those debuffs in the game anymore. Abilities, she's got Deep Strike. Yeah, she certainly has. Faction is Synapse, and then Subterranean Tunnels. Each time this model is set up on the battlefield using Deep Strike ability, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 3 inches horizontally away from all enemy units. When doing so, if this model is set up within 9 inches of one or more enemy units until the end of that turn, it is not eligible to declare a charge. That's fair enough, and that's kind of what happens in the game as well. Keywords: Monster, Great Devourer, Trygon, and Tyranids. Of course, I would love it if she had some extra rules about spawning mobs in, or a different electric attack, or just different attacks in general. How does she compare to a Morlock? Well, obviously she's cost more points, but you're getting the exact same stat line there. The difference really is that the Morlock has a distensible jaw, whereby it's got 1 attack, but it is anti-infantry 4+ and devastating wounds. And the Scything Talons, you're getting more at a lower strength. And she has this Terror from the Deep ability instead of Subterranean Tunnels. So it's worth getting both, I would say. Now, of course, as soon as you pop her up out of the Subterranean Tunnels, she's going to be vulnerable to ranged attacks. It would have been nice, and I hope in like 11th edition they give her an invulnerable save, even a 5+ invulnerable, just to reflect her in-game attributes, that when you're shooting her, all that chitin that you're firing at is impervious, which kind of works a little bit like the Biovore and a little bit like the Carnifex, and that she has got those armor plates and they're very, very robust against, well, typical bolt gun rounds. But what do you guys think of the Trygon and of the DLC, the new operation? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.